Hey all, welcome to Permanent Airwaves. I'm TC Kirkham, TKR Video Central. This week I'm going to talk with a friend of mine. I met him through Dawn and Mary, several years ago. And he was a reseller at the time, but he has a background in radio. He's had full radio training. He did some interning, but mostly he's worked on internet radio. And he's an incredible voiceover artist. We're going to have him do some, I actually had him record some stuff for me that you will see coming up on Friday Night Hair Salon stuff before too long. But he has an amazing outlook on this, and like me, he is a huge radio fan, and that's what made him want to get into the business. So today, we're going to speak with the man I like to refer to as the velvet voice of Greater Cincinnati. Please welcome to the stage my friend, Patrick Murphy. Okay, I always call you, I have this nickname for you, the velvet voice of the Greater Cincinnati area. And that's because of all the stuff you've done for various websites, various friends on the web. How did you get started doing this stuff?
Well, when you say get started doing, how far back are we talking here?
Well, however far back you want to go.
Okay, so growing up, I always did voices. It was just something that was, I mean, I can honestly remember as far back, let's just go back to sixth grade. Sixth grade, me and my buddy, we used to do Ronald Reagan impressions, and we recorded ourselves on a GE tape recorder in a buddy's garage. And that's my earliest, I always remember just being able to do voices. So we did that, Inspector Gadget, just being silly kids, for lack of a better term. But it was something that I kind of like, for lack of a better term, it's like I knew I could do the voices. And another voice that I remember distinctly was Beetlejuice. Just, oh my God, say it once, say it twice, third time's charm. So, going all the way back then, fast forward, I never, during high school, we didn't have the resources and technology that's available today.
Yeah.
I do remember being involved in journalism, photography, yearbook, those kind of extracurricular. It never really dawned on me, nor did we have the classes for film and editing and radio and stuff like that. I know some schools do, but ours did not. So again, fast forward. This is going to be funny. So I heard about it was in the Greater Cincinnati area, and it was called the Ohio Center for Broadcasting. I just got out of a relationship with a girl, and it was a bad breakup. And I remember picking up the phone, calling the school, wanting a tour. My ideal was just to get back out of spite. It's like, I'm going to become something, and you're going to. I mean, men do stupid things because of girls, and so, no, I did go to the school. It was 10-month crash course in broadcasting. It was both audio as well as video, and where I made my mistake, I think, and we were talking about this pre-show, was I did all my internship at the school. I didn't actually get out and make the contacts, get into the biz person.
Right.
And that's where I think I really messed up, because when it came time for placement, they wanted to send me all over the country. And I remember very distinctly when I joined this school, that was one of the questions that they asked. They said, "Are you willing to relocate?" And I said, no. At the time, I lived 5 minutes down the street from my grandmother. I'd been at my job. So this was 2000-ish, somewhere around that time frame. I've been at the job for at least 8 years. I wanted to do the overnights because nobody wanted to work overnight. It's the
Right.
graveyard shift. And for me, I was always up. I worked a second shift job, and I thought it'd be perfect for me because and to this day, I'm not even kidding, TC. Even today, this happened to me. I'd been off last week, and I was an hour late to work because I overslept.
I've done
So
that.
I would rather stay up all night as opposed to get up early, you
Hmm.
know. And I've just that's how I've always been wired. I've always been a night owl. So I always felt, and that night I feel like my I can definitely do the fast talking if I have to, but I
Hmm.
kind of like that slower beat, that that overnight. I always felt like I had that overnight sound.
So you're more of a Venus flytrap type than Johnny Fever, to use the
Yes.
WKRP reference.
Oh my goodness. It's funny you mentioned that because I don't know what got me started, but I've been falling down the WKRP rabbit hole on YouTube. There's a bunch of episodes
Mhm.
out there. I mean, it's been
Yep.
edited with the music and stuff of that nature. And in fact, just this weekend, I was actually looking for the DVD box set. The
Hmm.
Shout Factory back, I want to say in 2014 or 18, they released all 4 seasons with about 85% of the music still in there. They acquired a lot of the license to do
Ooh.
that.
Now that I'd like to get. I didn't want to get the originals because they had to redo all the music and stuff. It wouldn't have been the same.
Yeah, no, yeah. Then I know which one you're talking, because I think they only did like one season, the first season, and it
Hmm.
was so bad they didn't release the other seasons. But no, Shout Factory did it, and yeah. But what I've been watching on YouTube, none of the music's there. Like, in fact, if you
Yeah.
go to some of them, like I found this one guy, where he just ripped it right off of the DVD and uploaded it, and it's like you go to click on it, this has been removed by Fox.
There's a shock. Well, being both of us being radio fans, WKRP was one of those shows that we probably both have gravitated to over the years. I know I loved it when I was a kid, so.
Absolutely, yeah, no, and I mean, I during so I would have watched it in its original run because I don't think it actually did. Was it in syndication?
The original show was CBS, and then the two series, the new WKRP was a syndicated show, but they ran reruns in syndication for years.
Oh, they did.
So,
Okay, okay. Because I do remember watching them when I was younger, and I never really put the two and two together then. But I do know that there was something there that was like calling me almost, for lack of a better term. And the older I get, the more I have gravitated towards that. One of the things I do, and in fact right now I've got the station, is I do an amateur show. I don't know if it's an amateur or what. Basically, we're a nonprofit. Okay,
hmm.
it's www.caperadio.com, where we always got your back.
Yep.
And I was a DJ. I was a weekly DJ. I did Monday nights, Monday Night Hair Metal Madness, with your host Diamond D. Um, so I did that for 2 years consecutively. About after the second year, it just got to the point where life, for lack of a better term, kind of got in the way.
Hmm.
New
I know that feeling.
location, new setup, just it wasn't working out. So I stepped down. In fact, when I stepped down, I was actually doing two stations. So there's a game called City of Heroes.
Hmm.
It is an MMO. It was released in 2000. I think it started in 2004, as they just celebrated their 20th anniversary last year.
Hmm.
The station started pretty well around the same time. Hold on a second. And I got involved with the station, I want to say about 2006. I found the station, and basically what it is like there's basically a group of us inside the game. We all get together. You go out to the website, you can listen to the radio, and it's just like a community thing, for lack of a better term.
Right. Hmm.
So you have a bunch of people standing around. We role play, what have you, and So I started listening. I was definitely a fan of the station. I eventually got involved in doing voice work. So I've done some spots for them, commercials, voice work for them over the years. And then eventually I got my own slot. So Monday nights, usually 3 hour show,
Hmm.
all hair metal, usually through some classic rock in there as well. It was fun, and I still do it. In fact, last week I did a show, but it's more sporadic now. I don't have like a quote unquote time slot.
Right. You do it when you have the time and can fit it in.
Exactly.
And you
Exactly.
still do that on a Windows 7 computer, you were saying?
I Okay, so I don't know how much legality I can go into here. But there's a reason why I have to use a Windows 7 machine.
Yep.
Because again, it's player run, player based. So it's all volunteer, right?
Right.
And the software that I'm using to broadcast is definitely out of date. So if I was to say try to load it on my Windows 10 or 11 machine, I'd have to buy a new license. And the license, it's not cheap. We're talking a
No.
few $100s. And it's like, okay, I'm not that committed, for lack of a better term. You know what I mean? It's a hobby, so
Yep. Hobby is the best kind. I've actually run a couple of Live 365 channels over the years. When we were doing our Subject Cinema show, we had three different cinema stations up there, but it just got to be too expensive. And it was like, oh man, I'm not paying $500 a quarter for this. Sorry. It's
yeah.
just not going to work. And we never had enough listeners. We only had 3 or 4 listeners at any given time. So it's like not worth it. Have you ever dipped your finger into that kind of a hobby level, like into a full time station, or have you always stayed just with the shows?
I've stayed with just the shows. Now I will rolling back to broadcasting school. I put a demo tape together. This is actually back when we used cassettes. So if you kids don't know what those are out there in YouTube land, so this is a cassette. So I got some of those together, and I sent them out, and I always get the response letter of needs more experience, needs more experience. And again, where I made the mistake was I didn't make the contacts while I was still in the school,
Yeah.
you know. And then when it came time for placement, I would send these out locally. And when the placement director and we sat down, and he's like, hey, I'm sending you all these leads and you're not responding. I'm like, well, because they're not local to me, man. And he's like, well, if you're not willing to relocate, we're not willing to help you. I was like, well, I was very upfront on my application about that. So if that's how it's going to be, I walked out of the office. It's like,
Yep. Can't say that I blame you. If you made it clear to them in the front that you were just interested in your area or your like driving distance, then I'm sure the Camry could have gotten you to Dayton or something if you needed to
this is
do
back when
that.
I had the Celica.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this predated the Camry. This is before I
Oh,
was a family man, for lack of a better term.
yeah. See, I wish I'd known you back in the 90s because I think you would have been a great asset to discjockey.com. I worked there for 3 years and it was just absolutely the funnest, best dream job I ever had. It was great people and great, a lot of fun with the different types of stuff we had running as one of the four original internet radio services,
Oh
and
wow.
it was great. You would have been great on there. So you transitioned into reselling. That's where we met. I met you through Don and Mary, I believe, maybe
Yep.
through Johnny. I don't remember how we met, but and then, of course, that's when I started learning about your velvet voice and how you've lent it to a lot of the reseller community for various joke ads and announcements and stuff. Um, I think you've gained a reputation for that, just doing stuff for Johnny and Don and Mary.
Yes, and I thank you. By the way, thank you. I do appreciate it. I try not to. I'm one who I would rather. I was always say that I have a face for radio. Mom always said I had a face for radio. So I try to let my voice speak for me. So thank you. I will take that compliment. Thank you very much. Try not to toot my own horn too much. But yeah, no, I've definitely they've reached out to me with different ideas or pitched different ideas to me, and I've done things for them. I did. God, Johnny did this thing called Holler Dollar way back in the day, and it was a kind of to gain more traction on your eBay store. So one of the things that I did is I decided to put up like, okay, well, I will sell you a 30-second spot for X amount of dollars. You know,
Hmm.
one of the things that I did find frustrating is that people that wanted my voice, they had no idea what they wanted me to say. They just wanted me to do something. And one of the things that I definitely have learned about myself and one of my mentors, DJ Steele out of Pittsburgh, he definitely says that I'm a liner jock. You know, you give me script to
Yeah,
read, I will definitely do it. There's no, you know, I've got scripts. Just somebody says something or something happens, bam, I open my mouth, words come out. I don't even think sometimes. It just happens.
yeah,
And so when I was in broadcasting school and I was doing the station, because we had an internet radio station, that's where I did, all my internship, got all my intern hours in. Um, I remember being involved in that and thinking to myself, I think I want to do voice work more than I do on air personality.
right, yeah.
And so I started gravitating towards, voiceovers and voice work. A few of my friends, they say, "Oh, you need to create a Fiverr account. You need to do this. You need to do that." And it's like, well, how do I do it? Well, just go in there and do it. I'm like, oh, okay. I've been on there and I see all this, all these people with their studios and their. It's like, I look behind me. I don't got, you know. So, and again, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I do my hair metal show. But again, it's like I need scripts. I need something to work off of.
Hmm.
Just don't say, "Oh, record just something for me." Well, okay.
Yeah, I've faced that too a few times. I was actually doing voiceovers for a show called, oh man, I don't even remember. This was back in the late 90s, early 2000s. Somebody hired me to do an internet countdown show for them. And they would be like, "Oh, well, here's the songs. You can you do a script for me?" I'm like, "No, you need to provide me with what you want or any kind of tidbits because I was doing it gratis. So it's like, no, I'm not going to spend the time doing that if I'm not getting paid for it." So,
Right. I mean, you've got a great knowledge base, man. I mean, some of the stuff that you come up with, dude, it's like, I mean, the charts, brother. I will.
yeah, well,
I mean, you studied those backwards and forwards, and I mean, so you could definitely off the cuff just do a show and be like, hey, rolling back to 1975 with this classic right here on blah 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 blah, and then bam, fire the song.
yeah, I could probably I'd get it right 90% of the time. Maybe not the whole thing, but most of the time. I've enjoyed doing that, and disc jockey was a great deal of fun for me because of that. I need to put some of that stuff up on my channel, and one of these days I will. Um, do you have favorite voices you like to do? You're known for doing some certain characters, um, but I'm not going to ask you to do any particular one. But I know you have certain things you really enjoy doing as far as voice work goes.
So, I mean, obviously, Beetlejuice is definitely ingrained in me. All right, I went to see the Beetlejuice, and I left disappointed.
Uh huh.
I didn't. I felt like they were trying too hard to recapture the magic of the original,
Yeah.
and it was good for what it was. It just, I don't know, so one of my favorite voice actors, one of the guys that, and I remember this was definitely the late '90s, is David Keith.
Hmm.
He does. he did the voice of Spawn in the HBO animated Spawn series. And there was, oh my God, that man's voice. That is like, I remember that, just that. And even when I was calling the broadcasting school, I was like, okay, this is what like I wanted to do that for Keith David. No, I'm sorry, I always get those backwards.
Oh yeah, it is Keith David, isn't it? Because there's an actor named David Keith. It didn't even click in my head.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I apologize. But he's done a lot of voice work. He did Goliath in Gargoyles.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, you just read down the roster. But the two that stand out to me, the number one was Spawn, the animated series. Like, oh my God, I watched that for just his voice.
Yeah.
The animation was great. Don't get me wrong. The story, okay, whatever. But it's just his voice is what kept making me watch it over and
Hmm.
over and over. Another fun voice I love to do is, and this kind of ties into one of my personas that I've done on the reselling, is Dr. Girlfriend from the Venture Brothers.
I've never seen that show, but I'm aware of what it is. Yeah.
Oh my God, honey. um, so yeah, definitely. It's like, do you smoke cigarettes or do you eat them? But I always thought I would have a great villain voice. I definitely have that deeper, darker, like, I will kill you to resurrect you, only to kill you yet again, you know, type of voice.
Yeah.
Um, so I've always gravitated, and even like my likes and dislikes of cartoons, I've always gravitated more towards, like, I mean, there's Cobra Commander right back there. Do you see any of the Joes? No.
Mm.
Cobra was always my favorite. I big fan of the Decepticons, Megatron, original G1 Megatron or G1 Galvatron, not the damn tank, not any of the other incarnations, which they can't make Gun Megatron anymore because of the US laws. Um, so but yeah, no, I've always gravitated more towards the villain side, if you will. I always thought I'd make a good villain voiceover.
Yeah. I bet just knowing how you are, I bet one of your favorite voice actors was probably Peter Cullen. Am I correct?
I do look up to Peter Cullen, voice of Optimus Prime. Absolutely. Um, I can't do that voice, but I the older I get to, like the Doctor Girlfriend voice, I can only do it for a very short period of time.
Yeah, those take a toll real fast.
And Dr. Claw from Inspector Gadget. Now, when I was a kid, I could rattle that off all day long. Today, if I was to do it right now, my voice would be shot for the next week.
Yes, I definitely know that. Kim does a lot of different characters, and she does, the easy stuff. Bart Simpson, Eric Cartman, Kermit the Frog. She can get stuff. I mean, you wouldn't even be able to tell the difference between the real one and her. She's that good at it. But yeah, the when you've got something as strong as that, or anything E.G. Daily does, because she has that naturally raspy voice, it's like I don't think I would be able to recover for at least a week after doing that voice for an hour or two of recording.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, yeah. Um, Mumra from Thundercats is another one
Mm.
I used to. His spit would go everywhere. um, so yeah, no, but I for the reselling community, I don't do the quote unquote villain voice. I just, I try to keep it, whether it be upbeat or um just kind of straight to the point, for lack of a better term.
Hmm.
And I
Yep.
work with them on their scripts. What do they want? I've been contracted to do so many, I don't want to say so many things, but I've been contracted to do things, and they just throw something together for me. Well, what do you want? Give me a little
Well, I don't know.
direction.
Just something from the velvet voice of the greater Cincinnati area. Were you a radio fan as a kid? Just regular radio?
Um, I didn't really start listening to DJs until I got into broadcasting school.
Ah, okay.
So, I mean, obviously I grew up with Wolfman Jack.
Well, yeah.
So I definitely remember him. There was a couple of the um, Joel Moss, I believe his name is, the EBN voiceover guy. Um,
Okay.
so those are kind of the ones that kind of stick out. But now that I've gotten older, went to broadcasting school, I listen more for the DJs than I actually do the music. And there's been some DJs that, like, there's a station I won't even listen to anymore just because of how they treat others in the profession. It really just, and
Mhm.
I get it. It's a shtick that they do, but it got to the point where it's like, okay, a few times, okay, funny, 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 but it turned me off so bad that it's like
Yeah,
I unprogrammed the station. I'm like, I'm not, no, I'm done.
yeah. I don't have any patience for that either because it's not an easy job. Number one, people think being a disc jockey is easy, but it really isn't. You got to put in prep, and you got to put in, be ready to talk and take any kind of call that might come your way that you don't expect. It's not an easy job.
No, it's not. It's not. And I mean, and you know this, it's time down to the second,
Yeah.
you know. And one of the things that I remember in broadcasting school, you're not early unless you're 15 minutes early. You know, 6 o'clock news starts 6 o'clock, not 6:01. You show up 6:01 for your shift, you're done. So a lot of people hate that about me. Working with some millennials over the year, they say, 5-ish. Okay, so we talking at the top of the hour? We talking bottom of the hour? Where are we talking here? I don't like this ish.
Yeah, it kind of gets crazy. Patrick, thank you for taking the time to talk to me about this stuff. The voiceover stuff is really fascinating, and the fact that you've done the hobby stuff is really great too. And I think you should have been a major star in the radio world.
Thank you. Likewise, sir.
Patrick, thank you for joining me this week on Permanent Airwaves. I really appreciate it. We had a lot of fun talking when we recorded this a couple weeks ago, and obviously you've had a lot more training than I have, but I really enjoy your passion for radio, and I thank you for taking the time to join me. If you are interested in appearing and you're involved in radio, please let me know. Leave a comment or contact me at the email in my show notes. And as always, if you haven't subscribed already, please do. And if you have, thank you. And please let us know what you think by leaving a comment. And we will see you on the next episode of Permanent Airwaves. I'm TC Kirkham, TKR Video Central. I will see you on the interwebs. Ciao, baby.